All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Here we are. Oh, it's 1:45 here on Friday the 21st. Well, what are we going to do with Bitcoin here? Well, there's not a lot to add. This is where it was last Friday. Here's where we are a week later. Well, certainly not enough to change account. Oh, maybe a little impulse into a 3, maybe. We'll see, right? You'll note here we had this wick down here tagged to 707, no close below the golden zone, but that's just, well, I don't think there's not much to do here with regards to any change. And oh shit, how do we want to look at it? Probably just if I pull back out here. I mean, that's even if we just include all of it until we get out of here, one way or the other, we're just caught in a box, right? And it's a pure algo box, right? Of course, right? Swing, golden zone, swing, 50. Now we targets on hit down here. Here's a break, although not a close, so it's a bit of a judgment call as to whether or not we got a significant pivot here. I would be very reluctant to be leaning too hard into some idea that we pivoted here and now we're gonna have a 1-2 and we're off to the races. It just doesn't look right. But then again, right, of course, the market has no obligation to do anything, right? We could, for all we know, launch right out here. It'd be surprising, but it's certainly, my point being, there are no rules the market must follow, right? It's going to do whatever it's going to do. We're just trying to hang on and not do anything stupid, right? You describe trading that way in many respects, right? Most losses are all self-inflicted. Not all, but right, most substantial losses are self-inflicted wounds. So our goal is to get in here, deal with the uncertainty, but not shoot ourselves in the face while we're in here doing it. Okay, so while the shorter term count here, is there one? Well, there are parts of it. I remember, I say this often, Elliott is just a snapshot in time. Do we have enough here to make a trading decision? Well, you certainly have to give the advantage to the bears, right? Given the algo participation here until we get to here. Now, we could hit that median line. And there's a path for this to get done here. The question is, what would we be finishing, right? We've been talking about that. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on Bitcoin. We'll look at the bigger picture here, and then we're gonna look at the dollar and the bonds here, because I think that's really that is what's wagging the tail here. All right, so as we look at that, let's go over to Brave New Coin here, because I think this is our simplest look at it. And for those that they just pop in here and want to take a quick look at what my thoughts are, and then they're out of here. Well, this is probably the most agreed upon count that we've gone 1-2, and then this move here from the COVID low, we've completed yet another 1, right? And we're in the 2. Certainly, there are other ways to count this. We've looked at a number of them over this year-long crypto winter we've been in. You can interpret it a couple of different ways, but I think the most, what's the word here? Conservative. I'm not sure that's the right word here, but let's come back to what's the simplest solution we could find, which is often what you want to be focused on. What's simple? Okay, well, so if it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, right, which is something, well, we looked at this many times, right? 1, 2, 3. Oh, could it be a 4? Well, first we thought, could be a triangle, right? And then too far for that. Then we thought, okay, could be a sharp, we'd have a triple here. Right, of course, now the whole thinking of 1, 2, 3, right, it's great when you're in log, but you come out of log and, right, it's a stretch to go with this being a 4 before we go into a 5, right? It's a bit of a stretch. Now, more reasonable when you're in log scale to see it. I mean, you can kind of go, okay, what's the big problem here? Well, again, that's not to be ignored, right? Say it that way. Okay, so if it's not going to be 3, what's the most likely candidate? Not that we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, but we've completed another 1. Again, that's a judgment call. I know it. It is. It's a judgment call. I want to complete impulses. I want to try and connect them if I can. So while the 2 here is questionable, right? It's not uncommon for Bitcoin or for assets that are on a tear, right, to have a shallow 2. 1, 2, this, again, you can interpret this multiple ways, A, B, C into the 4. 1, 2, you can, again, this could be, you can interpret this as a zigzag, couple of different ways you can do it, but you can definitely go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you can get it there, right? It kind of depends on what you see. And my suggestion for any Elliotticians out there, I wouldn't just have one count. You want to, my example here being hopefully one to get you thinking is that you want to have multiple counts so that you've got some thought put into, well, if it drops lower, well, then I'm prepared for that. If it starts to kick, it's kind of something that Sensei James M and I were kicking around in the idea of it's not just what you think it is, it's what, if you're wrong, what does it turn into, right? What could it turn into? So as we sit here looking at this, well, when we've looked at some pretty bearish scenarios here, the most obvious being, okay, if this isn't going to be an A, a B, and a C to finish, well, what if we go 4, 5? Right. Well, what's the implication? Well, then that would be we'd be thinking into a B. Oh shit. Oh, come here. Can I save it? Right, and then down for a C. Right now, you're looking for something much more dramatic. A, B. Again, I'm just kind of eyeballing here. A, B. What are we going to get for the C? Could we be coming down to those kind of levels? That's the very, very bearish. And there's, frustratingly, there's some macro technical events that are happening that we can't eliminate that. So you don't want to just have a blind eye and say, well, of course it can't be that. It can't be that. Be careful about that kind of thinking. Well, let's just see if we can put this together, and then we'll look at a couple other variations on this. Now, before we do that here, because I borrowed from his work here, it's so damn good. In terms of how we could get done here. So I'm going to show you this. This is one he shared with me. This is Sensei James M. This is his work here. And this is for the idea. Oh, shit. What do I got here? Let's go to the daily. This is for the idea here that we could still be putting in the 4, right? So the possibility that the 4 is here because we have not overlapped this 1. Again, reasonable in log scale, not so much when you go to arithmetic, but what I wanted you to focus on, because I think we can borrow this, and in fact I did, right, as we look coming down here, right, this is really nice work he's done here to give us his thought being we're going to try and finish an A, B, C from here. So this would be, we're going to go, right, so he's doing the same thing, A, 3 into the B, 5 into the W, zigzag into the X. Now purists, the preference would be that the X doesn't go beyond the start of the W, but okay, right, how much a purist are you, right? That's thus why a purist might want to put a B here, thinking A, B, C. You could probably think of it that way, but once again, if it's an A, B, C, what are you finishing, right? The 4th. Well, again, I stay open to that possibility here, but let's get you out of here. But it is hard to reconcile that when you come out of log scale. But I think here, let me zoom in there a little bit, because this is really nice detail work that he did here, and I know he put a lot of time into this. So coming off of the idea that it's an X up here for WX, well, okay, so here, so we'd go, so from the X, we're looking for an ABC, so we got a clear 5 here. It's a little fancy footwork here, WXY into the B. Now here's where I'm going to actually change that color. What do I don't have that? Let's go to blue so we can see this a little bit more clearly. 1, 2. And now, of course, right, it's tiny little 2 relative to the 4. So is it ideal? No, it's not ideal. Is Elliott Wave always going to give you perfect impulses? Absolutely not. So don't be looking for perfection. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, could we finish this with a little diag? Well, this is pretty fancy, right? So 1, we got to do that expanded B here to get to that 2 because we got to deal with that impulse. 3, 4. Could we be heading down here for a 5? Well, of course, we got to pay attention to, okay, when would 3 become the shortest? So we got to look for that here, which I think I've got it on another chart. If this is the 1. Expand the B for the 2. Could that be the 3? Well, of course, the 3 could come a little bit lower. 4 could come. There's some sort of, oh God, maybe that's an A, B, C to come into a 3 here. We're going to do this as a diag. Hard to say right now because it's just, there's not a lot of particularly clear structure to it. What the hell, I got that thing into it. Let's come back here into it. Oh, maybe I want it to. It's a little easier to see. That thing turned into a dash line. Okay, could this be 1A triangle? We've been through that a couple of times. Here's the 5. You got to deal with the 2. Could this be the 3? A, B, C. Ugh, some sort of ugly 4 here, right? So clearly doing it through an ending diag. Could this be 1? Oh, Jesus. Did we go down first? Yeah, we did. 1, 2. 1, 2, or pardon me, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming into a C. Could we finish down here and double bottom the whole thing? It's okay, maybe, right? I mean, let's just see where we are here. If we come in from that low, okay, well, we tagged the 50, right? No surprise, right? We know this was a golden, or pardon me, this was a golden, pardon me. I think this was a 50. This is a golden. This is another 50. Okay, well, I got unfilled targets down here. I got a median line here. It has been tagged, but that would be a magnet for the market. We'd finish this with some. Well, now we got to. As I just commenting, we got to pay attention to when if that's the 3 and if that's the 4, where, right? So you see that little dashed line there. Where would 3 become the shortest? And it's right there, right? So here. Well, actually, I should move that fucker down a little bit, right there. Okay, so if we tag that, right, and that's something to put an alert on. If we do tag that, well, we got to reconsider the count, right? Because then you couldn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, but you might be down here doing 3. Jesus, A, B, C. You might be doing 3, looking for 4. Now keep in mind, you'd have to have. Oh, God damn it! Come here. You'd have to have that 1 overlapped. If it were to turn into 3. Again, that's the thinking, okay, well, if not this, then what? If it's not that, then what could it turn into? Well, right now, I think you can hold right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right, for that triangle, pardon me, for that diag finishing down here. But it's an educated guesstimate based on the price action we see here. Now, you'll note here, we've got a big demand zone here, and we're at a POC and visible range, right? That's visible range here. So we know, well, obviously, right, this is all where the trading's happening here is we just go back and forth, but there's no trend other than, well, maybe you look at that and you see, would you call that a trend? Well, it's a short-term trend. That's a short-term rally, a short-term dump, and then this is just chop, right? It's just washing machine. So not a great place to be entering the market. You have no edge there. So why are you, what are you doing there? Unless you're down on a very short term, which is, I'd say the same question. What are you doing there? Right? Very unpredictable down there. Easily bent over, right? Which all it takes is one whale to flap his tail and you're crushed, right? So just my suggestion, keep it at 60 minutes or above. That's just my suggestion, right? That's what I do, right? But have at it, whatever you like. Okay, so let's come back here and see. I'm going to borrow from his very good work here and see if we can use that to get us to a finish. Well, first thing, let's just pull back out here for a second. Okay, let's look at the chart, right? And see, does this make sense? Now, granted, Brave New Coin, this is always going to have a day's lag, right? So as we look at this, just as what we've been doing here as we've been bouncing around this edge here, does it kind of make sense as to why prior resistance, right? We've just been going sideways here for 3-4 months. I mean, you kind of look at it and you go, boy, wouldn't that be the logical place to find some support down here? Well, then you'd look at it and you say, well, oh, okay, well, all right, that's, again, right? There's a huge advantage to any technician into pulling back out, looking at the larger degrees. Okay, well, if that, all right, just structure, interesting. Okay, but if this is a completed impulse here, and we're looking for a wave 2, wouldn't we be doing that? So you look at where the 50 and the golden zone are, and you look at what we're doing here, and then you look at the possibility, hey, well, okay, well, maybe I've got one more little kick down here. Maybe I've got more, and then, right, we'll have to revisit that ending diag concept, right? Maybe we'll have to relabel it depending on what the market gives us there, but certainly one possibility is here's we tag that 50 and we're out of here. right? Ending diag finishes it. Be interesting if we did that because we'd be spared that overlap of that one here. I should probably put that on there and put it in green. So we have that identified, right? So if we tag that, well, that's the kind of thing to put an alert on, right? You'd want to know if you're tagging that, just like this was when we tagged that. Now we tagged it and we haven't done much since we got there. Probably the easiest count. So, all we're trying to do is come out of here via an A, a B, and we're coming down for a C. Right, and then if we just dig in there a little bit, take this off and just do a little measuring, right? Wouldn't that be the next thing you did? Say, well, let's see how we're looking with regard to wave relationships. Okay, well, here's the 127138. Second most common behind the 100, right? Now, if we're going to go a little bit lower, look where that wave 1 is, right? Splits the 161, 175, 1618, pardon me. And then we're trying to finish this little diag here and hold that 50 and hold that little level that I just had marked off to where in this little ending diag scenario where 3 would become the shortest because that's the one thing we can't have. Now you look at that and you go, okay, seems to make kind of sense. Then we look at the channel, a pretty nice channel. Now note I am in log scale, but that center line. Pretty good. Okay, so looking at that, does that make you want to just come in here and buy it? Well, if we got down here and we got a reaction, I'd be nibbling. I will be. Of course, what we want to see it break out of this channel, right? So you could see that easily, right? Just the natural resistance. Now, on the retest, that could be interesting, right? Now, we don't have this, don't have that, right? But that's what you'd be looking for, right? We come out of here, okay. 1, 2 at the 50. I mean, can we get any more boring than that? From, pivot low down to the 50 and then off we go. All right. Bitcoin loves the golden zone. So we're talking about a pivot here at 16.3 or coming down here to 11.12. Golden zone would not be surprising, right? So you got to think through, all right, am I comfortable taking that drawdown, right? I'm assuming you're going to be trading with spot, not with any leverage. If you're coming down here, are you dollar cost averaging? That's what I'm going to be doing. But I'm a hardcore believer, right? So that's not financial advice. That's just my personal. I'm just telling you what I'm going to be doing, right? I was buying at 23. I'll keep buying because look at my count. Why would you think I'd be buying? Does that mean I'm right? No. I'm never here to tell you that I'm right. Despite some of the nasty comments I got, right? Wow. I always wonder why people, if they would come over here and shit on my stuff, why if you don't like Elliott Wave, why are you watching my channel? It's always odd to me. But they do. Okay, so here we sit with this area here of interest. Let's call it that. Area of interest. Are you comfortable parking some capital there? Well, I am, so that's what I intend to do. Okay, with that said, this is going to be short. What have I got over here? That's James. We just looked at this where we're just looking at the algo play here. This is the idea we had looked at earlier with, I got to get you up here, where if this is a WXY, so the 2 potentially is over here. So if we're going to, again, we looked at this last week, so I'm just going to quickly, if this is WX, well, pardon me, if this is, let me slow down. WXY. Well, if we've got that completed and we're thinking of a triple, well, we're going to need a 3 over here to stay within that channel. We're already outside the channel here. To stay within that channel, and then from there, that's going to have to give us 3, and that would suggest perhaps golden zone. Because from there, if you got that, you would be thinking A, B, C, take you down to the golden zone. I got a little median line in there as well. Right, so that's what you'd be thinking for the next X. Right now, I would be using the channel here as a guideline. Now, but note you'd have a little throw over here, so I would allow for some a little throw over on the other side, right? It's not uncommon if you got it on one side, you get it on the other side, and you see a nice big supply zone up there, which would make sense if we'd come back up there and kick, run into that consolidation, and then one more time down. We get our final low. Maybe the golden zone is our target here. We get the 2, and we're out of here. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so that all said, I think we got to look at what the big elephant in the room is, and there's really 2 of them, and they're tightly correlated. Okay, so this is the dollar index. Okay, this needed a revisit here because number one, this finish is really unusual, right? I mean, it's just such a monster here, right? We're just going straight up. So I went back to look at this count to see if we could get some clarity on this, and I would encourage those of you that are interested in looking at how these things correlate. This would be an interesting challenge. So first thing to do is I would tell you do it without, what I'm going to propose to you here. See what you come up with. Because at first glance, it looks different than actually if you're going to apply rules and guidelines here. It's a bit tricky. And there's a judgment call you have to make. So I'm looking, I've got a weekly here, and your eye looks at it and goes, oh, what the hell? What is so hard here? 3, 4, 5. What's the big deal? Oh, look at this beautiful channeling. Well, there's only one little fly in the ointment there, and that is right here, right? So that is a break of the wave 1 high, and that's me accommodating to take it down as low as I could with an expanded B. Now, so you have to ask yourself, okay, is this one of those very rare exceptions to where we're going? Now, note these are weekly bars. All right, we're going to allow for 1, 2, 3 wicks to break that wave 1. Well, on a weekly chart, you look at that and you say, oh, what's the big deal? Oh, fuck it, right? So look, oh, the flat that came and the WXY here is so perfect. Oh, yeah, that's got to be the 4. It's got to be the 4. Oh, come on, right? I'll just ignore that. Well, careful about that. Now, let me just note here what I've done here oh, shit, am I going to be able to show you that on a weekly? I had to do it this way, trying to avoid it, right? So it looks like you've got an A, a B, and a C here into a W. And then A, B, C into an X. Oh, shit, you could do it. Pardon me. You could do it as a flat. So you could do A, B, C, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, triangle, 4, 5, right? So you get a W here. A, B, pick your 4. A, oh, shit, 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C. 1, 2, this gets a little tricky. Oh, you could probably do it. Oh shit, you probably have to do this. You got to get your 2 here, 3, 4, A, B, C into your W. 1. Now this, I don't see another way to go with this. 1, 2, you got to do this as a diag. A, B, C. Oh shit, how are we doing this? 1, 2, God, can we get a 1, 2 here? No, I don't think we can. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we do a 5, 3? No, shit, I guess we can't. So we got to go 1, 2, 3. Let's get you pinged off here. Oh, can I get that one? Oh, hang on here. I've got it on another chart. Hang on one second. Okay, there it is. So we're going to have to do it through a leading diag here. So it's 1, 2, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1, 2, 3. Now, this is where you have to adjust this if you're going to stay with rules and guidelines. So if you go 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, right? Now, this is, you can accommodate this. Again, it's a function of how much a purist are you. If you're going to go, there's a clear 5 here, right? So the problem is the internal swing of this 3. You got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So otherwise, to avoid this. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, clearly a 5. Ugh. Well, so this is the kind of bastardized count. Okay, so let me here, hang on. So the idea here is if this is, If this is a 5, well, it kind of screws up the idea that you'd have a running flat here, because we'd want 3, 3, 5. Now, can you work around it? Well, you've got to recognize when you're doing it that you're accommodating based on what you want to see. So can you do it? Well, you're going to have to do it this way, right? You'd have to bring it in as an ABC there, and this gets you into trouble. So how do you deal with this? Well, okay, if we're going to go ABC down here, well, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it a force fit? Well, yeah, well, it certainly looks that way, right? So it does, right? But there are times where you've just got to accommodate what the market's giving you. Now, all of that is in the context of an account here that I think is very questionable. 1, we have this break here. 2, that sure looks like a 5. And right, so we're squeezing it in here because, oh, well, we need it to be a 3. This, I suppose you could work with this as a B, right? Some sort of chop monster, B, C. And then again, that looks like you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here. So you're having to accommodate, on the edge of, well, is that appropriate to do? Well, we're coming back to, this is a problem here, right? So what's the Elliottician to do? Well, my suggestion here is let's pull this off just for a second here and look at how we might do this differently. It looks to me like we've got to do it like this here. So, I'm going to change this on the fly. So this has to be, here, let's get this off. So this is going to go, oh shit, I guess you'll do it here. Got to go here. Oh, it's a little skinny in there. 1, 2. Oh shit. Oh, here, let me hang on. I've got it. All right, I'll get there. It's the hazards of trying to do 2 counts on one chart. Okay, so I think we've got to work it this way. All right, so if this is our 1, we're going to go WXY into our 2. Now I got to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? I know. You're being forced into it by that overlap, right? So that overlap here is incredibly significant. So if this is the 5, well, what would we complete there? So, right, just process of just deductive reasoning. Okay, well, wait a second. Oh, what would we go here? Let's go to minor here. Let's put it in green for the greenback. Okay, so now we look again here, and this starts to get a little concerning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, do I love that? No, I don't. Right, but I'm trying to address the problem here of just those. Well, again, we're on a weekly, so they're not so small. Those overlaps of even my accommodating here to work this as an expanded B. Gnarly, all right, because the downside of this is, and here I'll bring it over in motive wave, because this is a little disconcerting. If we start thinking that this is a 1, this gets a little gnarly. If right, I'd be curious how purists are interpreting that. If that's a 1, 2, we're fucked. Okay, here, I'll bring this over in motive wave. All right, so if this is 1, 2, right, and we're going towards a 3 here at 1618, that's approximately 142 for the dollar. Oh, that is not going to be good for anyone or anything, except for maybe bondholders. This would be very problematic for all risk assets, right? Bitcoin, the stock market, everything, right? If that's 1, 2, and this right now is putting in a 1, well, you see, okay, well, we just look at it here. That's a week. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but if we've got our first down week, if that's the start of the 2, well, okay, we could come back down here to 100, but the implication is that we're just putting in the 2 and up we go for the 3, and this is going to be a world of hurt. Well, now when I say that, look at the this is a weekly chart, so look where that 2 comes in. That's the end of 23, right? So if, heavy emphasis, if that's the top in the dollar of this initial impulse here, and there's a count that gets it done, if that's the top of the 1 here, and we're going to take the entire year of 23 to put in that 2, okay, well, that's a pretty good move down. We're coming down from 1, shit, come here, where's my 115. Let's see if we got a 50% retrace, right? We come back into that structure that brings us down to 102. Well, if we did that over the course of the year, that might be the remainder as we go into 23. So we'd be, 4 or 5 months of 22, full year of 23 before we start climbing higher. So that this 2 down here could be the relief that we need in the markets for Bitcoin to get its legs and start to move, right? As we do this, as we put in that 2. Now, what happens next? Well, remains to be seen, but right, you can see the count here. Now, if we dig in here on a daily, you can see a path here to this. Okay, could we be done? Doesn't look like it's done. 1, 2. Oh, this is a brutal count, right? It's your best guesstimate because it just keeps going, right? Does that look like it's done? Well, how would you count it, right? It's mighty tough to count it as it is. Whoa, Jesus! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC 1, 2. Right, already had an overlap. 1, 2, 1, 2, or perhaps a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's one more kick for, of course, being mindful that 3 doesn't become the shortest. Oh shit! Here, well, you get my drift. 1, 2, 3 is shorter than 1. Maybe it's a little 4, right? So we'd have to. So maybe we get a little ending diag, although that doesn't look very diag-like. We're on a daily, so this is question mark. Question mark. So we come back to the weekly here. Okay, so our first weekly close in some, well, not our first, right? We had this one here, but okay, we got a weekly close potentially. If we're going to close down here, okay, so do we want to put the 5 there? Well, let's just play with that for a second. You would anticipate to get to the top of that channel. And then if we think about where we are, and that again we're coming back to, okay, if we got that, what's our target? If this is 1 and this is 2, all right, where are we looking for it? Again, this is scary, right? This would be unhealthy for crypto, to say the least. So let's hope that's not what it is. All right, so we come back to, okay, is this little overlap, is that those little wicks there, is that going to decide the fate of the global economy and the fate of cryptocurrency? It has the potential to, actually. Seems silly to say it that way, right? But technically, that is a giant warning sign for what could be coming here, right? So I'm not ready to lean into that completely because this is not ready to go there yet, right? So the idea being that, okay, if this isn't 1, 2, and we're working on the 1 of the 3, or the 3, right? It's possible 3, 4, 5. At least we'd get 100 here. We don't have to do the 1, 6, 1, 8. But I'd much prefer that we were putting in the 5 here and we were going to do it this way, right? As we had previously looked, we were going to do it even if we got that channel. Oh, let's hope that this isn't going to be the collapse of the global economy. That little fucker right there, but it could be. Amazingly, could be. All right, I think I got, the last thing, 33. Okay, last thing to look at here, just to be aware of it and just kind of show it to you. That's the 10-year Treasury market. Now this is the continuous contract futures here. It sure is hard to miss the 5 coming down. I think we've looked at this before, and I show you these just to make you aware of how significant they are. Okay, so what do we have here, right? So we're going back to 2000, right? Looks like just a giant leading diag in the weekly chart of the bonds. Oh, it's a lot A lot of chop monster, but it's technical. Is it technical, right? Would you anticipate it being technical? Well, oh shit, now I can't remember which one's first. Okay, you tell me. All right, so I mention this often. Right, we're out here on a weekly bond chart. All right, you see what we have here. All right, golden corner pocket. There's your 80%, right? It just misses it here. So we get first target, 80%. Look at this, all the way to second target. You say, okay, well, that's great. Right? Okay, cool. Right. Yeah. You told me about that. How does that help me now? And that's great that it did that from the last pivot here in 2007. Well, that's great. But okay, just once, right? That's no big deal. Yeah, I know. Let's try it again. From that very corner, right? We know they use this, and we come back here, right? What do you think the algos are doing here? Right now, here we're in between. We don't pivot at the 50 of the golden zone. We're right in the pocket. Do we get? So we have a corner pocket, not a golden corner. 80%, right? Best odds in trading, right? Yet the least you'll used technical tool of all available technical tools, of all. Least used, yet most profitable. What does that tell you? Right? Maybe a heads up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what is that implying? Well, okay, we know what that's implying. That's not good for yields, right? So we think about that dollar chart, where that could be going. Well, if this is a 5 down, what are we thinking there? Right? Well, we don't even know if that's in. That's not. Oh god damn it! Come here. A, B, C is what I was trying to do. Anybody else got an alternative there? It's pretty technical as well, from the 2 through the 3. All right, well, note what it does, right? So again, you think they like geometry in the bond market? So I've got this beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4 point, right? A little throw over here, a throw over here. This beautiful channel. Look what happens here on the retrace from below, right? And these are to the tick. It looks like you got over by a tick there, but what a beautiful retest from below. That's the last kiss goodbye. That's what that's commonly referred to as the swing. We come back and we test from below, kiss you goodbye. All right. So that's what we're looking at here, right? So I just kind of working through some things because Bitcoin is just such a snooze fest right now. I don't think it's going to stay that way much longer, but at the moment, oh shit, God, right? That's all we do from 1 week to the next. I seriously considered not doing a video here, but there's a few things to look at and talk about, and a little teaching along the way. Is there a trade for Bitcoin? Well, eventually there will be. Are we going to come out of here? Well, the other thing, of course, we can look at with a big update here in the stock market, right? The correlation is breaking down pretty dramatically. Okay, guys, so there we go. That's all I have today. Hopefully you got a few nuggets or maybe a few ideas or some things you didn't recognize here. This count, I would have both scenarios here because this is going to determine the fate of the world. Right. So with that, all right, you guys have a good weekend. We'll be back on Monday. For some, it'll be their live stream or recorded videos based on what you guys request. And with that, you guys have a good weekend, and we'll catch you on Monday.